want to talk a little bit more about weight itself. Now, Hewitt has several definitions, and so from page 54 he says, weight, the force upon an object due to gravity, which I agree with. Then he goes on to say, in the absence of acceleration, mass and weight are directly proportional to each other. That's wrong. Then there's a footnote. Weight and mass are directly proportional. Weight equals mg. I'm good with that. Where g is a constant, wrong, of proportionality and has the value of 10 newtons per kilogram, or more precisely 9.8 newtons per kilogram, that is not true. That it is true for most, it's a good round figure if you're near the surface of the Earth, fine. But if you're not near the surface of the Earth, that is not true. If I go 100 miles up, that is not the acceleration due to gravity. Matter of fact, if I go, it's different between whether I'm at the Mount Everest or if I'm in Death Valley. They are different values of g. So 9.8 is a classic number, but the absolutes with which he's speaking, or which he's writing, not true. Now, he later on, again, he said weight, the force upon an object due to gravity. And then later, page 263, he comments that remembering that weight is the force exerted against a supporting surface. Yeah, no, I don't buy that. In other words, you stand on a scale, your weight is whatever the scale reads, because the scale is your supporting surface. If I'm bouncing up and down on a scale, if you think of an analog scale where the dial is moving back and forth like that, that means, according to that definition, that if I'm bouncing on a scale, at some point my weight can be 300 pounds, and other times it could be under 100 pounds. No. Weight is steadier than that. Now, why does he contradict himself? Well, if I look at the Dictionary of Physics, this is the Penguin Dictionary of Physics, he defines weight. This book defines weight: the force exerted on matter by the gravitational pull of the Earth. In the case of a body of mass m, the weight is mg, where g is the acceleration of free fall, and acceleration due to gravity. If m is in kilograms, the weight is in newtons. And so that deals completely with the gravitational pull. It has nothing to do with the supporting force. So by Hewitt's definition, if I take a rock and I drop it, it is weightless. And so, and if it's weightless, well, he's still acknowledging there's a gravitational pull. Now, part of this transition is that if you look at older textbooks, weight is the force due to gravity, and they're good with that, and they stop there. But when I was going through taking physics for the first time in high school, that they differentiated between actual weight and apparent weight. And apparent weight was basically what the scale would read. Actual weight was the force due to gravity. So at that point, they're sort of acknowledging this confusion here. And so now textbooks seem to have kept going on that spectrum, and they're saying that weight is just what the scale reads. In other words, what the support force feels. In other words, weight is the normal force holding a person in place. And the real issue I have with that, well, besides the fact that I disagree with it, is that if I've got something if I'm carrying my child, which at this point would probably hurt me badly because they're big, but if I was carrying my child, my weight suddenly increases? No. My child has his or her weight, I've got my weight, and just because the support surface needs more, there needs to be more support to hold both of us up, does not mean that I have more weight. And so I think it's just a bad misconception, and I think ultimately it leads to sloppy thinking in physics. So from my point of view, when I use weight, I'm talking about the force due to gravity between an object and a large body. The other stuff that he's talking about is normal force. Just be aware that we disagree on this, and students for the most part don't have trouble with understanding Hewitt speak and Fox speak, but I'm going to keep the debate alive as long as people keep printing the stuff that he is on that.